Hello, I'm here with Group 2, and this is our presentation on modular housing. My name's Robert Irwin, and I'm a junior in construction engineering and management.
Hi, my name is Diego Amar, and I'm a senior in civil engineering.
Hi, my name is Austin Goose. I'm a sophomore in civil engineering.
And I'm Cole Smith, and I'm a junior in civil engineering.
Here's our table of contents. This is what we're going to be going over today.
So, what is modular housing? Modular houses are prefabricated buildings or houses that consist of repeated sections called modules. Modular is a construction method that involves constructing sections away from the building site, and then the installation of prefabricated section is completed on site. Prefabricated sections are sometimes placed using a crane. The modules can be placed side by side, end to end, or stacked, allowing a variety of configurations and styles.
So the history of modular housing has lasted for around 120 years. It started in the early 1900s with Sears. Sears would have catalogs of houses that purchasers would be able to look through, and they would select the house that they wanted. Then the parts of that house would be delivered to their property, and the house owner would assemble that house on site. This trend continued until about 1968 at the World's Fair in San Antonio, Texas, where large-scale modular projects were introduced. This was introduced by the Hilton Palacio del Rio. It's a hotel made entirely with modular rooms, and it was a key starting point to building large-scale structures with modular construction. In the present day, it continues to grow in the residential and heavy civil areas, especially with apartments, which often use the same types of rooms, so modular construction continues to be used in that area. The idea is also being introduced to building roads, where parts of the road are modular sections that can be traded in and out easily. So continuing with modern use, it's being used with the residential construction industry for apartments. It's used in this sector because it can decrease construction time, and it also decreases the living cost in urban areas where living is often very expensive. It's also being introduced in transportation, where roads have been designed with recycled material such as plastic, and they have separate sections that can replace the traditional pavement method. This is especially being used in the Netherlands, where they have constructed bike paths that are made out of these sections. It's also being used in emergency situations. It can provide quick housing and disaster relief, such as a tornado or hurricane where a city might be wiped out. Modular structures can provide housing in that situation. It can also add temporary space in overcrowded buildings, such as hospitals and schools.
In order to perform modular construction, it is absolutely necessary to have the following. First of all, a contractor must have a fabrication facility where they can manufacture all the components needed for the job. Proper transportation capabilities are also necessary. The components that are transported from the facility to the job site are heavy, and proper trucking equipment is needed to move these components from point A to point B. Heavy lifting equipment such as cranes are needed to lift the modular components off the trucks and place them into the foundation. In addition, the correct materials are needed in order to perform modular housing, such as insulation, steel, glass, and wood.
There are plenty of benefits to using modular housing. The first benefit is the affordability to construct and live in. These houses are precisely manufactured and carbon efficient, making it perfect for small and low-income families. Because they're designed to be small, these houses are perfect for small areas regular homes can't fit in. The construction equipment is also weather resistant, making it less of a hassle during the construction process. On top of all this, modular homes are quick and easy to assemble and disassemble, with some companies assembling multiple houses in just one day. The modular housing industry is not perfect though. One con includes transportation. These homes can take heavy equipment to move from factory to field, which could be expensive and dangerous. There are also architectural limitations to these towers, as they are manufactured to be efficient. These houses are also difficult to finance and have a short-term lifetime expectancy, as they are only a short-term solution.
Lots of new technology is being introduced to the modular housing sector. The use of building information modeling, or BIM, is becoming more common. BIM is software that paints a 3D picture of the plans so that companies can review the plans for a piece before they produce it. BIM helps companies optimize space in the components by using geometry. Laminated lumber is another innovation that is becoming more popular in modular housing. Laminated lumber is an engineered wood product that is made by layering dried wood veneers. Laminated lumber tends to outperform conventional lumber and is more uniform than conventional. This results in a more uniform final product, which is essential in modular construction. 3D printing is modeling technology that is being incorporated into modular housing and across the construction sector. 3D printing helps reduce waste and allows flexibility in modular designs. 3D printing can also help speed up on-site construction of walls. Recently, there was a firm in China that constructed 10 houses in 24 hours using concrete. In the future, it is possible that 3D printing will enable contractors to construct homes quickly and affordably. Here are some general trends in modular housing. Over the next 5 years, modular housing is expected to make up 10% of the entire housing market. This is primarily due to the many benefits of a modular home. They are greener, cheaper, and faster to build as compared to conventional housing. In addition, cities like New York City are facing impending housing crises, and modular housing could be the cheap and fast solution to that problem. With the popularity of modular housing increasing, more architects are getting involved with modular building in order to make the designs look more appealing, which in turn is increasing customization options of each house. With the architects becoming more involved in projects, there will be an increased implementation of BIM software in the designs and project planning.
A really good example of modular housing is Habitat 67 in Montreal, Canada. This modular housing compound was designed by Moshe Safdie, an Israeli-Canadian architect. This was actually Safdie's thesis at McGill University, and he was asked to build the complex for Expo 67, which took place in Montreal in 1967. This complex includes 148 residences with 15 house designs, and each home has an average cost of 140,000 Canadian dollars. The height of the complex reaches 12 stories high, and 354 identical prefabricated concrete forms were used to develop the complex. This building is a landmark for modular housing, and it was visited by over 50 million people during the 6 months of the Expo 67, where it was first showcased.
Another example is the Carmel Place in Manhattan, New York. It was the first prefabricated apartment building in New York City. It has 55 units with a day and nighttime setting. It utilizes the same space, but it's a fairly small space and it has 2 different settings that they use. It's intended to provide low living expenses in a city that's currently facing a housing crisis. In fact, some of the first people who lived there were veterans with low incomes.
Another really good example of modular housing is the Star Apartments in Los Angeles. It is a residential housing complex that caters the needs of homeless people. It opened in 2014 with 102 units and a height of 6 stories. The cost of the project was of $40 million. This complex also offers on-site medical services, counseling, and a community garden for the people that live here. Each of the 102 apartments units were prefabricated as self-contained wood frame units built in Boise, Idaho. The interim construction, including plumbing, appliances, and cabinetry, was shipped to LA, where it was maneuvered into place by cranes before being permanently adjoined to the superstructure. Thank you guys for watching our presentation in modular housing. We'll see how modular housing evolves in the future and how it contributes to civil engineering.